This is our Thermo Exactive, and it has a problem. The high vacuum, or ultra high vacuum turbo has stopped spinning. So, this video is going to describe how to get that turbo molecular pump out of the instrument. So first thing we're going to do is unplug the instrument. Let's see. There's the back part here. And this is where the rough pump comes. Hooks up. This is our setup for the ID cube dart source. This is our rough pump. That's our surge protector. LCMS. So we're going to make things a little tidier in order to get in to the mass spec. It's a good idea to, as you're taking things apart, label and tape them. So we're going to take the syringe pump is off. We're going to take divert valve A off. Next we're going to separate the LC on the right from the mass spec on the left as much as possible. And as surfaces become accessible, feel free to wipe the crud off of them. The less dirt you have around the mass spec as you open it up for service, the better. Now we can unplug the main power cord. Let's see, it's beeping. Because of something. Oh, it's beeping because of our power conditioner slash backup. And it provides backup power for 30-60 seconds. So let's turn this off. And before starting any of this, of course, the main power on the unit, the electronics were put into the service mode and the main power was off. Right. And what we're going to do next is label and pull out these cords here, and then we're going to loosen these hex head screws here, and take a look in the back part of the compartment here. Okay. This is in the back of the tallest part of the unit. Next, the Ethernet was disconnected from here, and we're going to loosen these hex head screws. They're either 4 millimeters or 5/32 if you're in a pinch. And we're also going to disconnect the rough pump from this assembly. So in order, here's a trick. We have these slip joint pliers. What you do is push in here on the collar. That pushes in, and then let's see if I can do this one-handed. push in, pull out. Okay. So that's how you can push in on the collar. Alright. So then I'll take that, reinsert that, and next we'll take a look at what's inside here. With 6 screws removed, and this is what the inside looks like. On the back, the rocket pump, or the Fore pump. So next we'll disconnect here, pull it out so we can get better access to the inside here. On the left blue panel, we have 1 screw, again 4mm. Take that guy out, and I suspect that this is held in by tabs. So I'm going to try wedging it from here and seeing what happens. Next you have to loosen completely. Now these are retained by clips, hex bolt screws. So there's 1, 2, 3. Alright. And what happens is they're loose, but you can't pull them out. And then this part of the thing, of the sheet metal, will slide forward. See that? Okay. So it'll slide forward. Now, the concern is this. How is this baby attached? Hopefully, the lights behind here are on a chassis mounted panel somehow, and they're not attached to this plastic. I guess we'll find out. You can see how it's cracking forward. So, what I'm going to do is pull this forward some more and take it off. So next we'll see what it looks like with this off, hopefully. Okay, let me get back here. Alright. Next, what it looks like off. Alright, so this is with the cover off, or left side cover off. And take a look here. Alright. Here we have a turbo. Silicon labeled. So that guy. And we'll take more of an in-depth look. As we proceed with the disassembly of the turbos. Okay. Alright, next in this procedure, since this is a hinge here and here, you gotta take off that hex bolt, screw. That's the bolt. Take off that bolt, and see if we can turn this unit. Hex appears to be our favorite 4mm. So we'll loosen these and then remove them and see what happens. These two are removed, but the unit doesn't swing out because there's another one down here that I have to remove. So let's do that. And there's a fourth one right down there. I partially loosened it. It's easier to take it out with the 5/32 ball end hex. And for the to recap on those 4 screws, 2 shorter ones are by the hinge, and these 2 are by, this is on the inside and this is on the outside by that point far away. And let's apply some force to the hinge and see what happens. Alright, so here we have our assembly. I mean, this is a CLT board, and push this open and voila, we have this. You can see all these feed-throughs and this stuff, and it is somewhat easier to get to the big turbo. Okay. I'm going to try the same approach in removing this cover off of the instrument. First removing this side hex screw, then loosening up these captive hex bolts, and then for this guy we'll take off the source and try and slide the cover forward. See what happens. So this gently slides forward, and it's pretty nice. They got plexiglass to protect the some of the connections here. That's good. Alright, and you can see here's where that's where one of the captive bolts comes through. There's another one here. Okay. And for protection, in this case I have some aluminum foil over the cone. And on the back side of this, there's, once again, our 4mm hex screw, a grounding cable that's connected. So we'll disconnect that. And here it is with both covers off. So the electric spray source has been removed, and entrance has been covered with aluminum foil. And considering this is the source, I am guessing that behind these heat sinks is the source turbo. And move out, alright. And we have our analyzer turbo. And right there, this is our manifold. So guess we'll get some estimates and take it from there. Since servicing may be required for the source turbo, I'm going to take off these 4 screws and the heatsink and see what the part number for the turbo is. The Exactive has 2 turbo pumps in its system, and we're going to take care of the still functioning one first. So this is a Pfeiffer pump, and what I'm going to do is take this off. So I guess I got to break this warranty seal, and what I'm going to do is there's a fluid reservoir and an O-ring that I'm going to replace. I've taken off the seal, and now we have 3 screws. Alright. And this is a 3mm hex. So I'm going to loosen these and see what the inside shows. Alright, I put on gloves. This turbo is by the source, and undoubtedly this is the dirtiest of the 2 turbos. So I'm going to take these off, and then the question is how to get this off. So let me examine. Alright, so this pump here is apparently a turbo drag pump, a split flow 310. So I'm going to have to find out how I'm supposed to get this off in a safe manner. Alright, so an issue is how to get this plate off of here. In other turbo pumps by Pfeiffer, there's a screwdriver slot, so made a torque device, a block of wood with 3 projecting screws that will fit in these cavities, like so. And all I want to do is twist this, hopefully, and not have the plate fall out. So I'm going to twist, and of course twisting is not working. Okay, plan B. Then of course, after twisting it back this way and that way, counterclockwise, clockwise, now it's finally loosened. And so now we're going to take a screwdriver, and now it practically falls out. So carefully, still seems to be some adhesion. My guess is the O-ring. Yeah. See, the O-ring was stuck. It was sort of glued. Alright? Okay, so there's this. Oh, you can see there's a little bit of oil. Okay. Alright. So, now I'm going to pull this and replace the, let's see, let me just pull this. My guess is that this will come out. So, wiggle it back and forth. Yeah, look at that. Alright. So, there's the oil reservoir, and there's the plate, there's the O-ring, and I'm going to replace things. So, let's examine some of the parts before replacing them. So here on the right we have our old oil wick reservoir, and on the left we have the new one. So you can see the old one's been discolored. The new one has an even and lighter coloring. And then here we have the O-ring. Right. Pull that baby off. And here is the replacement. And it's the wrong size. Jeez Louise. Okay. I guess I will have to call Thermo. For now, I've lightly reused the old O-ring and screwed this on sort of light hand tight. I have to inquire as to whether or not the old O-ring can be reused or not. Old O-ring, its thickness is roughly 83 thousandths of an inch and an idea of roughly 2 inches. It's difficult to measure because of these chassis standoffs. The O-ring that was sent had a thickness of 116 thousandths of an inch and had an inside diameter of 1.5 inches. So obviously I cannot use the O-ring that was sent. Originally, when taking off this plate, the original O-ring was uncoated, and so it essentially had vulcanized, adhered this circular plate to the base. And so in the process of twisting this guy off, I'm afraid I may have distorted the O-ring too much. So what I'm going to do is try and replace the O-ring with ones that are available to me at this time in a timely manner. So so I think it should be around 2.5 by 50 millimeters. So a size 136 is 2.6 by 50.47 millimeters. I also have a 3 millimeter by 50 and a 2 by 50, and I'm just going to have to see which one of these three is closest to the original. So I'm going to take this off and then compare it, and then before reinstalling, coat whatever O-ring I use with some of the with a suitable oil. After comparison, I'd say 2 by 50 millimeters is the closest, although I would like the 2 to be more like a fat 2. It was just maybe a 1,000ths or 2,000ths bigger cross-sectional area. I think that would be better. Anyway, after re-examining the O-ring, I've decided to stay with it. So I'm going to stick with the old O-ring. I did coat it with the oil residue that was left in a portion from the old wick reservoir. So next we got to take care of this main turbo, and what I'm going to do is label and take off these 3 connectors, and then behind here there's a exhaust that's probably going to be disconnected, and until I finally get to the screws that hold down the flange, and those are 5mm hexes. Alright, I'm gonna 2 connectors off on this side, 3rd connector on that, and so then we have to get to this where the exhaust O-ring business is. Again, this is going to be 3mm hex is what's needed. Okay, so this is the situation with this disconnected from the turbo. Alright, and then this is one of the 3 screws that hold it down. It's held down by this plate that slips over that flange. Okay. Now, the problem is to get to the 5mm mounting screws that hold the flange to the analyzer. In order to conveniently access these, right here, right there, that's one of the 5mm hex. Let me shine a light on it. One of the 5mm hex. Right there. Bolts. And in order to access it, this has to be moved out of the way, and this. And so they're held down by 3 bolts to the chassis plate. Those bolts have to be removed, and best way to loosen these 5mm bolts is with a extension to a hex bit and ratchet. So that's what I need to get next. Alright, going to remove these constraints as far as access to the 4 5mm turbo flange bolts. And although I don't have the hex bits yet, I may be able to take off the turbo. I won't be able to tighten it, but let's take a look, see what sort of damage there is. Alright, with the Bond Host 5mm tool, we can remove these 4 mounting bolts after breaking the initial seal with Allen wrenches. Alright, so here we have 2 of the 5mm mounting bolts. You back it off somewhat, and then using a heavy-duty screwdriver, just break that initial seal, and then I'd say 1/8 of an inch, no more than 1/4 of an inch for the nut. Now we can take off these 4 bolts and see what the turbo looks like. After removing a bolt and a washer and having the washer fall through, there are fans under here. It's a good idea to put some aluminum foil or something in case you drop something else, like bolt number 2. Alright, let's pull the turbo. See what happens. cute turbo. Alright. And I'm going to put it over here. So let's take a look at the inside. So, wow, cool. I don't see any damage. It looks like there's a O-ring here. I guess I'll have to find if I'm supposed to replace that or coat it or what. And the turbo looks like this, and oh look, this might be rebuildable. Maybe just a bearing is gone. I guess we can try and find out. Alright, new turbos on the left, old turbos on the right, and of course there's a declaration that says open plastic bag only just before mounting the pump. Alright, you can do that. And from the looks of it, there's a sealing gasket right here, this black one, and on our old flange, okay, you see, there's nothing here, but we do have it here. And so if we look over in the mass spec, alright, we still have our black retaining gasket there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this one and then just coat the metal with some 95% ethanol to clean the surface. Alright, old gasket just pulls right off. Alright, so I'll pull this off and then wipe it with ethanol soaked chem wipe before mounting the new turbo. It's difficult to see, but there's also a ring right here at this last step before the big plate that then steps down into the manifold. So I've wiped everything with ethanol twice, and now I'm going to go and mount the new turbo. So before I mount, let's just take a quickie look. This is the new turbo here. This is the old one. Looks pretty similar. Okay, I've taken the old gasket and put it back over here. And what I'm going to do is then stick the new turbo in this bag and the cover on.